Ultimate.
What did he say?
Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and Absolute Superman.
But unironically, Ultimate Batman sounds like a sick fucking title.
I know, right?
Like, honestly, if you showed me a book that was called Ultimate Batman, I'd be like, holy fuck.
Wow.
DC is starting up their own separate Elseworlds kind of universe as well, known as the Absolute Universe. And yeah, we're just talking about the 3 release titles to start this universe off, which are of course Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, and Absolute Superman. There was an all-in special that came out, I believe it was in October, early October. September. Sorry.
Yeah.
Where they explain how this universe was created and basically involved Darkseid and all this other and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, Darkseid basically created a world in his own image he recreated the fucking wish machine from Final Crisis and made it evil. and then fed it his own hand, and then was like, anyway, wish machine, am I capable of creating? And the wish machine was like, you're dumb as bricks, no. So then Darkseid was like, okay, I'll take the Spectre, bond with the Spectre, and then use that power to create my own world on that fucking Elseworld that was created at the end of Dark Knight's Metal, that empty one. And then so that's where the Absolute Universe basically was born out of, was Darkseid creating his own universe within his own vision with the fundamental changes that ensure more hardship and strife exist.
At the end of that issue, it involves Booster Gold getting trapped in the Absolute Universe, and literally he's in a shithole now. Even though when you read these separate other titles, it doesn't seem very shitty. It's just
it's interesting because I think that the fundamental changes to these characters aren't necessarily meant to make the world more shitty, but perhaps to inflict more pain on these characters at maybe even a later point. Because, I mean, we'll get into it later, but the changes made still create these characters and make them close to the main universe versions, but they still have fundamental differences, and they still have an equal amount, if not more, hardships they experience.
But it's hard.
I know we already talked about Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
With
Scott Snyder's return back to a Batman title.
Which as much as I bitched about that, because I love Scott, but this is his 70th Batman book, and I was just like, all right, I don't know what else he could do. And then I read that first issue, and I was like, all right.
Yeah,
this guy.
I thought it was cool. I
don't know why I doubted Scott. He fucking wrote the shit out of that first issue. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and the changes made to Bruce don't necessarily make him any less Batman, but they definitely make his life harder.
Exactly.
And I think that's the point of this universe, is that it doesn't necessarily make them not their characters. It just makes their lives infinitely more harder, and then we get to see how they still succeed at living up to their morals and their characters from the main universe through those hardships. And I think that's why this universe works. I really like what Jason Aaron was saying with Absolute Superman, where he was like, this is a Superman where hope is the underdog, and I think that's a really good summation of the Absolute line.
Very much so, yeah.
Now listen, that's called motherfucking bars, nigga.
Obviously, we know that Batman's motivations was through his parents' deaths in the main universe, but the fact that they decided to, have not only Thomas be the one that dies in this one, but the fact that it was Thomas saving Bruce on a school trip with his friends that he was chaperoning, which is a bit more. Why I thought it hit more home to the realistic aspect of this version of Batman, because I was watching an interview where not interview, but I was watching Sal explain on Comic Pop on Elseworlds Exchange how when Scott told Sal and Benny his idea for what he wanted to do involving Bruce's trauma in this, originally wanted to be a school shooting instead.
Yeah.
But he thought that would, but Benny and Sal urged Scott to be like, hey, it could if you don't pull it off well, it could end badly. So like he knew that like Scott would figure it out a more palatable way to do it. So have it be like a zoo trip, like a field trip. That was great, and the fact that like it's him see like just like the main universe, seeing Thomas kind of be a hero for an instance, to like I thought was really really cool, and
Yeah.
why Bruce would be Batman again in this universe.
The subtle change from it being a direct school shooting to being a shooting that happens on a school trip is such a minute change that seems like it wouldn't change a lot, but the more you think about it, the more it feeds into maybe a more easier to understand Batman, because I think if you have his origin based off a school shooting, that is less of like an easy fundamental thing that Batman can fight against, because if you just look at the a lot of the reasoning for school shooting and stuff like that, they are a lot more fueled by societal issues.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's an adult that is like shooting at a zoo, then you could paint that as just like crime. You know what I mean? Crime took Thomas Wayne. Whereas if Thomas Wayne died in a school shooting, you'd be like, it wasn't. You know what I mean? It's hard to call that. It's a lot harder to be like Batman is fighting crime, as in like he's trying to get kids better access to like mental health and like strict gun access. Whereas like if it's an adult shooting at a school, then it's like, oh cool, Batman can punch that guy. You know what I mean?
What I thought was really interesting was the fact that I think Sal also made a good point on his show, where he was like, Batman in the main reality is like, listen, like Gotham is like Gotham is a problem and is an issue, and I have to be the one to solve it. But like, because this Bruce Wayne version of Bruce Wayne was born and raised in Gotham, not like in a Wayne Manor, just like outside of Gotham, and like all of his friends, he's like I grew up here, all my friends are here, like my mom is here, and like instilled my values and helped raise me after my dad's death. Is like, I don't think that Gotham is like a cesspit. Like there are good people here. It's just that it's just the crime and everything is the issue.
Wow, this change is interesting for Batman. I think as a whole, part of my issue with it is that it does make him so much like other characters. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's interesting to see Batman specifically be put in this environment, and I think that it's something that would only work with Batman purely because his origin is so entrenched in the cultural consciousness that changing it in this little way, despite it being very cliche for other superheroes, is not for Batman, because we've never seen him in this situation. But like, because just that simple change, he just instantly becomes like Daredevil or Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Where it's like, no, he lives here, that's why he cares. Where it was interesting before because he was a rich guy who, by all accounts, shouldn't care, but because Bruce is such a good person at heart, he does give a shit, and he does want the city to change for the better because he loves it, and it is his home, despite him being a rich kid from miles out in a mansion.
Yeah.
So I think that change is something that can only be pulled off by someone like Scott Snyder, who has a deep understanding of the character and is able to expertly change that in a way that still feels interesting for Batman.
A few moments later.
And I think it's like and outside of that as well, I think the design of this Batman's really cool. I like the use of like this version of the cape. I like the weapons. I like the whole like symbols of fucking axe. It's so dope. It's like the action in this book is so fun. But yeah, dude, it's just I'm digging it so far. Also, stuff with Alfred. This version of Alfred is also really interesting as well.
I like it because they take like the boring regular like, actually he was a soldier from Earth 1 and are like, no, he wasn't a soldier, he was like super spy.
James Bond.
He wasn't even like James Bond. He was like super tech James Bond. Like this dude is like a fucking like crazy person. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, they're taking like the super spy like addition to Alfred's mythos and then turning it up to like 14.
Yeah, man. But I will say, even though I did enjoy the issue, I I did not like the epilogue that Snyder wrote at the end because for people that haven't read it yet, it involves a character, a villain that I'm like very sick of seeing now at this point, and I'm just like,
I think, I know on the reread it didn't get any better for me. I think, no offense to Scott, I'm sure he's going to do a good job with this. I just think I need a moratorium on anyone using Joker for the next 5 years and anything. Let him go away. Give him a break.
Yeah,
I'm just sick of him, like, because I think the oversaturation makes it so that it's like, what new thing could you do that I haven't seen in the last 8 years that 80 other people have done? Mm-hmm. And at this point, the real answer is nothing. I think we should have stopped when the Batman Who Laughs was created by Scott Snyder. I think that was the last. I was like, okay, that's it. This is the last one. Let's stop.
Yeah, man.
And this new one where it's like, oh, he doesn't laugh. It's like, Scott, I've seen that before.
And he's rich while Bruce Wayne's poor. Like,
yeah. And it's like, dude, fucking Chip Zdarsky did this 8 months ago.
Yeah.
He did this.
Man, this is some bullshit. Boo this man.
Overall, Absolute Batman was a good start. I think I liked it more on the reread. I still have some issues with it. It's probably the book out of the 3 that I had the most issues with. But even then, I still think it's a really good start. And Nick Dragotta's art's fucking insane.
Again, like, I've only seen Nick Dragotta's art within East and West. I've never seen him do superhero stuff. So to see him do Batman, this version of Batman, can nail it is crazy.
It's great. It's fucking great. It's great. I have it's some of my favorite art in a comic book going right now. So
2 hours later,
Absolute Wonder Woman, which was the second book that dropped, which came out like 2 weeks ago.
I think like a week or 2 ago. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's written by Kelly Thompson. The artist names escapes me right now, but we'll probably mention it we'll talk about it. This book is awesome. Straight up. This book is dope.
I'm just gonna say it the way I feel it. This shit is motherfucking dope.
This book, like Birds of Prey, The Cull, this is cementing Kelly Thompson into being like one of my favorite writers. Also like her Hawkeye run as well.
It's art by Hayden Sherman.
Hayden Sherman? Alright.
Yeah.
Great.
I love the art in this book too.
The art in the book is great.
When I was reading this, listen, I'm a feminist, okay? I'm a Wonder Woman fan. I like women.
I like women.
Recently I reread, like, because listen, we'll get to this at our end of the year recap in a couple months. Yeah. But I'm now a Tom King hater officially. His Wonder Woman run made me want to go back and reread actual Wonder Woman runs. And going back and rereading those, I reread George Perez, Greg Rucka, and this feels like it fits very nicely alongside those runs as like greatest Wonder Woman runs of all time. Just from the way this starts. Big change for Wonder Woman is that the Amazons are wiped out by the gods. And Apollo...
I don't think they're murdered. They're like banished, I think.
Yeah, wiped out. They're gone.
They're gone. There's no Amazons.
And Apollo takes baby Diana and appears in hell. And the only other denizen of hell currently was Cersei. And he basically hands her the baby and is like, they don't want to banish and kill this baby. So you're going to have to take care of her because she's imprisoned here because she's the last of the Amazons. So she's going to be imprisoned here as like a symbol of the Amazons race being imprisoned here. And Cersei's like, what do you want me to do with it? And Apollo's like, I mean, nothing if you want. She's imprisoned here. So if she dies, she dies. And so then Apollo's like, oh, also you can't say Amazon anymore.
Yeah, that's bad.
And she's like, wait, really? And then she tries to say it, and it's just a scribble in a word bubble. And I was like, that's funny. So Cersei at first is like, all right, it'll die soon. There are a bunch of animals on here. I'm sure one of them will get to her.
And then a snake, like baby Diana refuses to die.
And then a snake slowly slithers up to Diana in her cradle, and instantly I was like, oh my fucking god, they're doing Hercules.
Oh, Hercules.
Yep.
And the snake tries to kill Diana, and Diana grabs it by the neck, and instantly Cersei's like, oh, she's a fighter.
Mhm.
And so then Cersei slowly starts to raise Diana, and there's so many good moments, like
That
the
montage
gecko,
scene was great.
yeah, like the devil gecko breathing fire on her, and baby Diana grabs the gecko and wags her finger and is like, no, and then gives it a kiss and lets it go on its way. And I was like, oh my god, that is like the perfect summation of Wonder Woman. And so Cersei slowly starts raising Diana in their little witch hovel in Hell, on Hell Island, and she slowly learns to love Diana as her own like daughter. And it's a very sweet dynamic that Cersei like, and it's so interesting that, I mean, again, shouting out Sal and Tiffany. Tiffany was talking about how it's really beautiful to see their witch's hovel slowly become like a normal home, getting floorboards, getting beds, and you can tell through the art, through Hayden Sherman's art and paneling, you can see the love blossom between Cersei and her now daughter Diana, and it slowly coalesces in Diana asking Cersei what she is and being scared of what she is, and Cersei basically being like, no, you have to be proud in who you are. Like even though the gods have banished your people and banished your people's name from being recognized in history, you know your people's name and you know what you are. And she's like, so say it. And then Diana is one of the only people who's able to say Amazon, and she yells it. And I was like, fuck, dude.
And yeah, like pretty much her lesson is like always like, you know, accept and embrace who she is. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. And it
but
hit
also,
like crack. That shot of Wonder Woman yelling Amazon. I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Not only embrace who she is, but also embrace like who she's become through raising her. Like I thought it was so good, dude.
And it was such a good summation of like, I am an Amazon. This is who Amazons are, even though it might not have who they have been when they banished. Since I am an Amazon and this is who I am, this is who the Amazonians are.
This is one of the most badass versions of Wonder Woman I've ever seen in my entire life. I think the design is. I think this is one of the dopest designs for a female character I've ever seen, because it's like the intricacies, like it's still like it's still Wonder Woman-esque, so you know that you still can like know it's the character, but like the red, the silk, like it reminds me a lot of like the New 52 version of Wonder Woman, but like done a little better. Like the tattoos, like the Buster sword, the red lasso that was revealed at the end is just even sicker.
And the demons like asking Wonder Woman who she is, and she has that moment where she like bursts out with that dark red lasso, and she's like, I am Princess Diana, daughter of Cersei, last of the Amazons, wicked witch of the Hell Isle. And I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, Princess of Hell. I was like,
oh my god, Princess of Hell.
Oh man, it's sick as fuck.
She's got this giant fucking sword going, I am Princess of Hell, slicing this dude in half. I was like, this hits like crack cocaine, dude.
It's so hard.
Booyah! Wow! this kicks like a mule with his balls wrapped in duct tape.
This is a Wonder Woman like I've never really seen this before. Yeah, obviously we know that like the main universe Wonder Woman, she's a really excellent fighter, but also she's a witch as well, so she's using magic and like casting spells, and it's like it's so sick, dude. I was like, Kelly Thompson, like you nailed this shit. And I remember watching an interview of hers from another comic book YouTuber, where she like literally like couldn't figure out what to change with Wonder Woman to like make her stand out from like, you know, the absolute universe. And this was like her last resort. And like she said, if this didn't work, like she would have been like fucking like she would have left the project. And I'm so happy that like she was just like, I'm just gonna make Wonder Woman a witch that was raised in hell. Done. And that's it. And it works. And it works along with the artwork, works so well. And this, I think this, me personally, like Wonder Woman's like, this is my favorite absolute book so far. Like I love this book a lot. And this kind of, again, like from what I've read from Kelly Thompson in the past like year alone, I think she's become one of my favorite writers right now. I'm loving Kelly Thompson right now.
She's so fucking good, dude. I want
her on the show. I want her on the show. I'm gonna try to get her on.
If she gets on the show, I'm literally just gonna be here crying and being like, I love your shit. It's so good.
2 hours later.
Absolute Superman came out this week, and literally not this week, literally today. And just to start off, like I loved it. I because this was the book that was again written by Jason Aaron, and I did not know what it was about. Clearly, like they kept this one under wraps for the most part. They didn't really tell us anything about it, and I really was curious to see what they're gonna change. And as with me personally, I'm not much of a Superman guy. What I really do like about Superman, which is like, the stuff involving Krypton, like, especially the classism of Krypton. And I really thought it was really interesting the fact that, this version of Superman is, first off, this version of Superman arrives to Earth as an adult rather than as a child, as a baby. And he's not raised by the Kents at all. But what is really cool about this is that they go through the backstory of this version of Krypton, and what they did with this one was the fact that they kind of go through this various types of classes that are in this version of Krypton, which are like the science classes, the scientist class, which is like the highest pinnacle class you can be in, and it's not something you're born into. You actually have to work to achieve this level of status, while the lowest tier class, which is the workers class, are identified as with the iconic Superman symbol, are the workers class, and that is where Jor-El, Lara-El, Lana L comes from, and so that was really interesting.
Jason Aaron's back, baby. I hated his Avengers run for like 8 years.
Oh, I thought it was trash.
Oh, dude, it was so depressing after his fucking great Thor run and everything, and even his those Venom stuff. It just sucked, and I was like, I felt bad because I knew Jason Aaron is a great writer.
This is some bull.
But this was Superman, motherfucker.
Let's go!
This was another book that fundamentally understood the character, and the only changes they made were changes that made hope harder to exist in the world. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Exactly. And I think that's exactly what I like about Absolute Superman the most, because it's just like a book that completely recognizes Superman's roots, makes it harder for Superman to exist, yet still has him exist in this world. Mm-hmm. So, like, the whole backstory they were doing with Krypton, and how, the hierarchy they had, the social hierarchy they had, and how Bruce's parents, Cal's parents were exiled for trying to speak out against the ruling science class, because they both believed that the ruling science class didn't actually care, and they both were like, hey, we need more money put towards environmental protections and interstellar travel, and the ruling science class were like, fuck both the L's, they're out of here. Mm-hmm. And so then they started working as the lowest working class of Krypton society. And that's what this Superman's S is the crest of the working class of Krypton, which I was like, fuck yes. It's like fuck Zack Snyder's like, it means hope. Like having Superman's crest be, no, this crest is me proudly wearing the crest of my working class family, is like the most Superman shit, dude.
You gonna make me act up. You gonna make me do something I'm gonna regret.
That's what I loved about this issue a lot, was the fact that because what I love the whole idea of Zack Snyder touched on it in his version of the character, and also like the Krypton show did it a lot, which I love. Like just the classism in Krypton is so interesting to me, and the fact that the higher tier ones, this is their symbol, and then like the bottom tier ones is like the L symbol. I thought was like, yes, I'm like, that's so interesting,
Yeah,
I love the people with the most hope are the ones that are at the bottom of the gutter. Know what I mean? I
love how they make Krypton's hierarchy so primitive that it feels like something that would exist in like the 1600s in our world or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that's so primitive and so petty and so unjust that it's so much more interesting to happen to this extremely advanced scientific society to basically regress to the point of relying on like the caste system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's a beautiful aspect of Superman's character to basically have him live through the end of one society as it collapses, and then have to come to ours and basically see the beginnings of that happen, and that's like the drive for him to try to do good in the world, because like as they explain, as they even say in the book, that one world may have ended and one world may be ending, but it does not mean that it's over, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't still have hope.
Exactly.
And that's what I think I love most about this book. It seems like Superman will be primarily focused on like the economic troubles of our society, and that working class people are regularly exploited, looked down upon, treated poorly by the upper class, and that Superman is a hero that works for the working class people to protect them and to basically save them from the horrific treatment of the upper class. And I think that is at its core who Superman has always been. He has been hope for the working class since he was created. And I think that's why this run is so far, this issue really worked for me, because Jason Aaron he does the odd thing where he changes a origin to be even more in line with the spirit of the character. You know, where you know, they reveal at the end of the book that Clark was it's fucking like he wasn't a baby. He was like 8 years old when Krypton fell. So it was like a Supergirl situation where like he saw Krypton fall. He was old enough to like know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And I like that cheeky little Krypto cameo at the end there.
Yeah, that was nice.
I was like, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I think it's such an interesting story to have Superman directly be fighting corporations in favor of the working class, and to be wearing a working class symbol as like a point of pride for him, that he's wearing the symbol of the caste that his family belonged to proudly. Mm-hmm. It's all just in line with who Superman is as a character, and I think that's why this works so well for me.
Yeah, boy.
And I also really thought his powers and his suit were really cool. The fact that his suit's kind of like a containment suit to make sure his powers are under control. And the suit has his own AI that he talks to. That was really cool.
I'm interested to see who that AI is going to be revealed to be, if it is going to be Jor-El. I like the Brainiac tease. I'm a sucker for Brainiac. I feel like Brainiac being teased is much different than Joker being teased, purely because you don't see Brainiac as often as Joker. So it's like, all right. I like even in Brainiac's room, he's got fucking bottled cities already, and I'm like, dude, is there going to be any universe where you're not just trying to bottle cities? You fucking
exactly. No, that's a universal trait with all Brainiacs.
I know, it's so funny, but
yeah,
I think this is about equal with Absolute Wonder Woman for me.
Okay, fair. I like it. I like this one more than Absolute Batman, but I think Wonder Woman is better than this, in my opinion. Absolute Universe. It is good so far.
It's great. Don't get it wrong. All these books were incredible. They're some of the best coming out right now. It's grading them up against each other. I think Batman is the weakest of the three, but again, it's basically like me saying, yeah, I think Kobe Bryant's the weakest out of MJ and LeBron. It's like, okay, that's still fucking Kobe Bryant. Like, that's
Kobe Bryant, though.